when you come to buying of materials, you understand, you don't, like I've said before, it is not good for you to manage materials when it comes to construction. There are things you manage, there are things you don't need to manage. For instance, roofing sheet. When you manage, when you buy a low gauge roofing sheet, you will pay in less than 1 year. In fact, in less than, let me not over exaggerate. You will pay in less than 1 year and 6 months. You start seeing the effect of buying a low quality roofing sheet. For instance, for instance, you want to buy a roofing sheet. You decide to go get three 0.3 0.3 millimeter gauge roofing sheet, which is error. Some people will go say, okay, instead of let me go 3.5. Why don't you go for 4 meters, uh, 4 gauge? Yes, when you go for when you go for when you go for point 4, you have quality. You see, in this country, you understand, Nigeria, for instance, you understand, in Nigeria, our weather will have harsh weather. And you know, this roofing sheet, sometimes you hear sounds you hear sound on the roofing sheet when the weather is so hot. That sound you hear is due to expansion. It is due to expansion. And when the weather is hot, your roof tends to expand. And when it's cold, it tends to contrast. So you need a roofing sheet that can quality material roofing sheet. If you manage your roofing sheet, you will pay in less than 1 year and 6 months. For instance, you are buying, you went to market to buy 2.0 gauge, point 0, point 3, 0.35 or 0.3, for instance. You go to buy. You see, you will put it, number one, if you look at it, it won't look good. It will look, even when you, after fixing the roofing sheet, if you look at it, you will not enjoy it. From afar, you're seeing that it's inferior. But when you use a quality roofing sheet, from afar, you're seeing that you even see this guy did a very good job. The carpenter who did this job did a very wonderful job. But even if you use a professional carpenter, in fact, the best in the world, and you use a low gauge, you won't see the beauty. That is the thing. So I will always advise you buy quality roofing. For instance, what I have here, this thing you see here is shingles. This is a Gerard roofing sheet. It's shingle. It is tough. Sometimes you get some of this roofing sheet, you get some that are low gauge. Some you get some. That is why when you go to some places, you have different prices. You understand? There are some, if you don't understand it, you might probably go buy, for instance, if the standard, a good standard of this one, you see how tough it is. It is very tough. A good standard of this, and you buy it for 7,500, that's 7,500. Now, you might get the ones that are not that quality for 7,000, or 6,900. You see the difference. Now, when the weather starts hitting on it, the stones that is on this roofing sheet, on this Gerard, start falling off. Then the color to start fading. For instance, you have black, it starts changing to ash. You see the difference. So, quality material, especially roofing sheet, because if you check it, now let me give you a scenario. You're buying a roofing sheet. You bought a roofing sheet um, for 7,500 per square meter, for instance, per meter, for instance. And in the next future, Maybe in a year and 6 months, the other one is bad. The roofing sheet you put already is bad, and you want to maintain it. Check the cost of labor for replacing that roofing sheet that is bad, and check the cost of buying another one to replace. For instance, you want to replace a particular portion, a roofing sheet that is low gauge. If you want to replace a particular portion, in the process, stepping on that roofing sheet, in the process of stepping on that roofing sheet, you're having a problem. It is destroying another one. So it is why don't you buy a quality roofing sheet that will last for you for 30 years. When it lasts for you for 30 years, you understand? Sometimes it writes 50, but at least 25, 30 years is good. When it lasts for you for that number of time, check it. At least you have enjoyed it. Not a year and 6 months, 2 years maximum. You're changing roofing shape, you're patching and doing all of those things. Oh, getting felt to seal up a leaking spot and all of that. And I always advise you, if you're buying, there are things you want to do. If you're doing residential, I don't know how your pocket is, but I'll always advise you, go for Gerard. You know why? Okay, there are so many reasons, there are so many advantages, but I'll tell you that advantage later. But for now, my advice is buy a quality roofing sheet, a high gauge roofing sheet that can stand our weather, that can stand our weather. Our weather is harsh. It goes through contraction and expansion. The roofing sheet goes through expansion and contraction. So if you buy a quality roofing sheet, those expansion that happens and construction that happens, your roofing sheet can withstand it. It will not go through wear and tear. That it won't tear on time. It will last the test of time for you. So my advice for you is always go for quality roofing sheets. I will also explain to you